Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Please have my respectful obeisances, Maharaj, unto your lotus feet.
Thank you very much.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to your divine grace, Maharaj.
Thank you. All glories to Prabhupada. How are you?
Good, Maharaj, because of your mercy.
Very good. So can we start? Can we start now? Very good.
No.
Can we start? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
You cannot hear me?
Hare Krishna. Maharaj.
I was asking if we can start now because it's time.
Yes, you can start.
All right. Thank you. Let me finish check if it is working. I will usually do this one using connect. You see, it's like it's not that. It's we activated yesterday. Yes. Jai Radha. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Hastuttarasita. Shri Srimad Divine Grace is co-founder Acharya Jagat Guru. Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Hastuttarasita Shri Srimad Divine Grace. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki Jai. Ananda Guru Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridasa Kura ki Jai. Prem Ko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Shyam Radha Krishna Giri Gauravan ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Mathura Dham ki Jai. Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham ki Jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi ki Jai. Yamuna Mai ki Jai. Ganges Mai ki Jai. Tulasi Devi ki Jai. Bhakti Devi ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda ki Jai. Jai Guru Anande. All glorious assembled devotees, all glorious assembled devotees, all glorious assembled devotees, all glorious to see Sri Guru, Sri Gauranga. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vita 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 Gaura Karuna Sati. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya.
Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Agyana Timirandasya Yanam Jana Salakana Chakshulamuritam Jana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manabhishtam Sapitam Jena Putale Swayam Rupa Kadamaham Dharati Swatadam Tikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yutaparakam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shastri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajinam Sadvitam Savadutam Parijam Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Dev Shri Radha Krishna Pari Sahagana Lavita Sri Visakam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namasute Tapta Kanchana Guranga Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Kesavana Sutili Namami Hari Vanchakalpatarajasya Kripa Sandhu Jaivasa Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Siddhis Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Okay, you continue our study. From Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is. Chapter 3, text 28. Hare Krishna. Jia Kumari, Pakistan. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Thank you. You live in Pakistan?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, you were born there?
Yes, Maharaj.
You were born in Pakistan?
Yes, I was born in Pakistan. I was born in Pakistan, and I live in Pakistan.
Oh, Pakistani soldier, Pakistani duty. Okay. Very happy to see you.
Thank you so much.
All right. My greetings to all the devotees. Let's continue our discussion from Bhagavad Gita. So we are in text 28. Text 28. We change the sloka and we continue. Tatavitu Mahabaho Gunakarma Vibhagayo Gunad Gunesu Varatanta Iti Matra Nasajati.
O one who is in knowledge of the absolute truth, O mighty armed, does not engage himself in the senses and sense gratification, knowing well the difference between the work in devotion and work for fruitive results.
Okay, can you go to 28? This is 27, text 28.
Shri Gurudev, next we are directly having a slide for 29.
Okay. Sure. There's something in 28. Anyway, okay, before we, we continue from text 28, yesterday, you remember, you were asking me about Mammonists. There was a question about Mammonists, where they came from, who are the Mammonists. So I was looking at that, and I saw something about the Mammonists. They are Christians. They are not from the East, as Prabhu was suggesting yesterday. They are Christians, Judo, what do you call it? Judeo-Christian. So this is their philosophy. Their philosophy is about money. It's money. Above everything else, money is what they consider to be highest. It's different from the other philosopher in quoted yesterday. These are Christians. Also in the Bible, we see a New Testament referred to Mammon. So you cannot serve God and Mammon together. That means that you cannot put Krishna, God on the same level. But don't equate Krishna with materialistic philosophy. It is an offense. Actually, Dhruva Maharaj, he asked Krishna to give him a kingdom superior to his father. So he wanted materiality. And when Dhruva Maharaj attained perfection, when he attained perfection, and Krishna appeared before him, he prayed to Lord Krishna and begged him to forgive him. Dhruva Maharaj actually said that to ask Krishna for material things was an offense, which he did, was an offense. So Mammon and God cannot be in the same level. Material, sinful life. So, but this is Judeo-Christian religion is all about money. It is just money, that's all. There's nothing important about them than money. So it's the religion about money. Christian began to use mammon as a pejorative, a term that was used to describe gluttony, excessive materialism, greed, and unjust worldly gain. It is mammonism, mammon.
Maharaj, this means that Mammonists are certain class of Christians. Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
In July 2017, Chinese people always hold that Mammonism is a capitalist outcome, capitalist. But the reality showed that there is an overflow of money worship in China. Yes, a materialist, a class of materialists, but they equate their isms with religion, because they also practice some aspect of mysticism. That's why they can get money for sanctification. That is mammonism. The pursuit of material wealth and positions, especially a dedication to riches that is tantamount to devotion, Mammonite, etc. All right. better to,
Yes, Maharaj.
we have the best in Krishna, so we don't need anything outside Krishna. All right, so we continue from text 28. We'll just read the verse. So Prabhupada mentioned in the purport. Right in the purport, Prabhupada said, the knower of the absolute truth is convinced of his upward position in material association. He knows that he is part and parcel of the personality of Godhead. Krishna, and that his position should not be in the material creation. He knows his real identity as part and parcel of the Supreme, who is eternal bliss and knowledge, and he realizes that somehow or other he is entrapped in the material conception of life. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, one who knows the absolute truth in three different futures, namely Brahman, Paramatma, and the Supreme Personality of God, it is called Tattvavit. But he knows also his own factual position in relationship with the Supreme. It's a Tattvavit. Okay. Next. I think there is something. You are making this. 29. Prakriti guna samudha sajante guna karamasu tan Krishna vidhu mandan Krishna vina vichalayet.
Bewildered by the modes of material nature, the ignorant fully engage themselves in material activities and become attached. But the wise should not unsettle them, although these duties are inferior due to the performer's lack of knowledge.
Yes. Yes. So this is instruction from Krishna, and Prabhupada explained the nature, the position of devotees. Devotees of the Lord are more kind than the Lord. They're more kind. We saw that in life of Srila Prabhupada. Rather than pushing one who lacks knowledge to renounce his false activities, the wise will engage him in activities that will lead to knowledge. Indeed, a devotee's mood in approaching such persons is self-sacrificing and compassionate, as Srila Prabhupada reveals in his purport. What does he say? Read the screen.
Men who are ignorant cannot appreciate activities in Krishna consciousness, and therefore Lord Krishna advises us not to disturb them and simply waste valuable time. But the devotees of the Lord are more kind than the Lord because they understand the purpose of the Lord. Consequently, they undertake all kinds of risks, even to the point of approaching ignorant men to try to engage them in the acts of Krishna consciousness, which are absolutely necessary for the human being. It's from purpose.
Very good. This is what the Prabhupada said in the purport. The devotees are more kind than the Lord. You have good example? Anyone has a good example? Any example you can show? Our devotees are more kind than Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada, Krishna has mentioned that we should not tell this Gyan of Bhagavad Gita to non-devotees, but Srila Prabhupada has distributed this throughout the world.
Very good.
Ambarish Maharaj.
Amrish Maharaj.
Ambarish Maharaj,
Maharaj Vasudev Dutt.
Vasudev
Maharaj.
Dutt.
Maharaj, two examples. One is you are so kindly helping us. And
Me, I'm
one
not the
more
devotee
example.
yet. I'm trying to do it.
And Maharaj, one is Nityanand Prabhu. Nityanand Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself come as in a mood of devotee. He's a Lord, but he comes in the mood of devotee. So can we take the example of Nityanand Prabhu? That he's a
Yes.
Mark High Prem Day.
Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur. They delivered Jagai Madai. Lord Nityananda Prabhu, he saw Jagai Madai because they were ordered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Haridas Thakur, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, go person to person, street to street, city to city, country to country, planet to planet. Tell everybody that they should chant Hare Krishna, they will worship Krishna, they should become devotees of Krishna. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, go tell everybody this message, and in the evening come and give me your Sankirtan report. Anyone who refuses to follow your instruction, I'll come and cut off their hair with my Sudarshan Chakra. So Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur, they carried the orders on their head. Every day they were going on Sankirtan and come back and give report. So one day alone, Nityananda Prabhu, he saw Jagai, and he decided, how will I call myself a devotee? How will I consider myself a devotee when I have never done anything to glorify my spiritual master, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? A devotee can be called a devotee only when we have done something to glorify the spiritual master. We're not talking about what we give to him on his Vyasa Puja day. That is not. What wonderful Krishna conscious activities we perform. What a wonderful Krishna conscious life we are living. I will glorify the spiritual master. That is the philosophy, the teachings from Lord Nityananda Prabhu. So he said, when I will deliver this, the name of my spiritual master, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, will be glorified. So he desired to liberate. And he went, he told Haridas, let me go and tell them to chant. Let us go and give them the order Chaitanya Mahaprabhu given to us. And people warn them, don't do it, don't do it. But these people, they will never have this sense to understand the person. They don't know anything about it, so don't go. If you go there, you'll be in trouble. Only Chaitanya Prabhu and Srivas and Haridas Thakur, they went. And eventually they got them delivered. So devotees are more merciful than they got them delivered.
Maharaj, I have a question. Maharaj, actually, first of all, in this verse says that this 29th verse that we are reading, 3.29, it says that a person should not unsettle people who are engaged in various material activities.
Yes.
So sometimes when we are doing preaching, we come across situations of people engaged in some altruistic work, humanitarian work, and on one side we also hear this thought process that we should tell them what's the truth, and on the other side this verse is saying not to unsettle them, and sometimes for various preaching purpose we don't unsettle them. So if you can share from your experience, when from a preaching perspective we should tell the truth of a person who's engaged in these material activities, and when we should not. If you can share some perspective on this.
Yes. And Prabhupada said here, the question is saying we should not unsettle them. We should leave them. And Prabhupada is saying we should do it. We should do it. Consequently, they undertake all kinds of risk, even to the point of approaching ignorant men to try to engage them in the act of Krishna consciousness, which are absolutely necessary for the human being. So the best way we can do this on our level, a different level, the best way we can do this, Nityananda Prabhu and Thakur Haridas, they did their own at that higher level. We can do our own on our own level. What is our level? The crowd. This is the responsibility of Hare Krishna devotees. Crowd. We have to bring the crowd to our congregation. It is risky to do that. Because in the crowd, we don't know who is there. They are very busy gratifying the senses. For example, we entered into a hotel. People are drinking and do all kinds of simple activities and preach Krishna consciousness. We have made many devotees in places like this. We're going to a restaurant, people are eating not prasada, all kinds of dirty things. Because people congregated there, they're drinking and all kinds of things. So we go there and distribute books. Some of them, they will carry the book. Some, they will leave the book there. But they pay the gifts on donation, at least just to be polite. And somebody else went to the same hotel to eat and saw the book and took it. He read it and became a devotee. We have many experiences like this. So it is risky to go and meet people like this. But it can be done. This is a risk. And we cannot make advancement as fast as one who is taking risk in Krishna consciousness. If you want express way of advancement, we can do that by taking risk for Krishna. One day I was invited to an impersonalist Mayavadis society. Some devotees, they said, no, don't go there. These people, they are very offensive. They are Mayavadis, they are this, they are that. Don't go there. So I thought about it for a while. I was asking myself, if my spiritual master is here and is invited to go and preach, will he go there or he will not go? My answer was yes, he will go there and preach Krishna consciousness because he was invited by them. Not that we impose ourselves. So we invited. So I was invited to go there. So when I asked the question, I answered myself, yes, my spiritual master will go there. So I will go there. So when I was going, I was thinking, what verse am I going to share with them that it will make sense to them? They are reading Bhagavad Gita. They are reading Bhagavad Gita. So I would think about which verse am I going to read to them that would make sense to them in what they're doing. So as I was thinking, in Krishna's drew my mind to Bhagavad Gita 4:35. So I went there and I brought this verse. I recited it, read the translation of Prabhupada and the purport of Prabhupada. And we started to address them. All of you here, most of you here knows the 700 verses of Gita in your head. And some of you, most of you also, you are familiar with Gita. And this verse is speaking something very, very, very wonderful. Very nice. This verse, Krishna is saying, the previous verse, which is Sambandha, the previous verse, 434 is Sambandha. The relationship, we should approach the spiritual master, a bona fide spiritual master who have seen Krishna. Approach that person if he will give us knowledge. So Abhidaya and Prayojan is 35. And Krishna said, when you have gotten this knowledge, you will never fall again into illusion. And having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion. For by this knowledge, you will see that all living beings are part of the Supreme. Or, in other words, they are mine. So I challenge all of them, all of you sitting here, which of us sitting here, all of us sitting here, who can say that our life corresponds to this verse? We have been studying Gita for years, and some of us knows it, 100 verses, 700 verses in our head, and we can recite it very nicely, and we can preach it. In the temple here, we preach Gita. But how many of us can genuinely identify with this verse? Everybody was silent. So that means we have made approach, but we have not gotten the knowledge. Because one who has gotten knowledge, they will act differently. It's not risky to preach like that to them. It's not risky.
It's risky.
But I did. I did to them. They reacted to it. They reacted when I finished. Their leader took the microphone and he thanked us and he said something about Prabhupada, his con, blah, blah, blah. And he said, yes, in our organization, we don't discriminate. We appreciate all living entities. I said, but there is no one in this temple who is not a Hindu. Everybody here, they're all from Hindu background. Can you show me one person here who is not from Hindu that comes to this organization? No one. They were silent. And I told them, this is our scripture, and the scripture is to mold us. So it's better for us not just to study the scripture like parrots and recite it like parrots, but we should become actually realized, self-realized by following the teachings of scripture. Otherwise, what did they use for studying this, knowing this, memorizing the whole verses and reciting the whole verse every day, and we still never realize this. So they were happy. Some of them were very happy. They thank us for that. So anyway, these are one of the things like that. Does it help you?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much, Maharaj. One quick question from my side. That when we say that devotees are more kind than Krishna, Yes, I mean I understand this, but it seems like somehow it gives a perception as if Krishna is not capable of being more kind than his devotees. But we also understand that all the devotees are, like for example, Srila Prabhupada is called Krishna Kripa Murti. So it's ultimately kindness is coming from Krishna. So how do we understand this so that I mean, is it really like Krishna cannot be more kind than devotees, or it's more like he chooses to be so, or he chooses to let the devotees take the credit? What is the right way of perceiving this idea that Krishna is not as kind as his devotees are?
Thank you for asking. Hanuman jumped the ocean to Lanka, but Lord Machanda used bridge to cross. So, who is more powerful, Hanuman or Lord Machanda?
Ramchandra Maharaj.
One who is jumping over and the one who is spending money to construct bridge and waste time and construct a lot of labor. Which one is stronger, more powerful? Which one is more powerful?
Ramachandra.
One who is jumped there or
Hanuman.
one who is using bridge to cross?
Jumping.
One who's jumping over.
Yes. Yes. But does Hanuman feel like that? I am powerful, I'm more powerful than Ramchandra? No. No. The Lord is giving credit to his devotee because Krishna takes pleasure in seeing his devotee being glorified. When you look at the scripture, Lord Krishna fought with Jarasandha for 17 times, but Bhimsena killed him. But does Bhimsena claim the glorification? No. He knew that I did it because of Krishna. So when we say a devotee is more merciful than Krishna, it is Krishna who has given his mercy to the devotees to represent him, so they will be glorified. That is how we should look at it. This is the true understanding. The Pandavas, they passed through a series of obstacles, difficulties, and they remained Krishna conscious. They didn't change. So Hanuman said, Krishna did this to glorify the Pandavas. So it is Krishna's causeless mercy on the devotees, so he glorifies us. The father likes to see his child perform more than him, but he's the one who supplies everything to the child. The training that will make the child to do something wonderful came from the father. So we don't see devotee is pure devotee proud, because they know that whatever I am, it is coming from the Lord. Does it make sense?
Yes, yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Yes. Text 30. Mayi sarvani karmani sanyasa dhyatma chetasa nirasir nirmamo bhuttva yudhashva vigata jvara.
Therefore, O Arjuna,
surrendering all your work unto me, with full knowledge of me, without desire for profit, with no claims to proper rightorship, and free from lethargy fight.
So here, the Lord is taught that one has to become fully Christian conscious to discharge duties as if in military discipline. Such an injunction may make things a little difficult. Nevertheless, duties must be carried out with dependence on Krishna, because that is the constitutional position of the living entity. That was Papa said. So what we see here is what? Lord Krishna, Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna what a service to do. Lord Krishna ordered Arjuna to fight, but he also described the consciousness in which Arjuna should perform that duty. What is that? Do your duty without desire for profit and with no claim to proprietorship. Dedicate freedom. Indicate freedom from the mood of passion. Freedom from lethargy. Hint at freedom from ignorance. Knowledge of the difference between the soul and the body is simply born of the mode of goodness. Yes. This is what has happened. This Krishna is a perfect teacher. He asking us to do something, and he also giving us what kind of consciousness is required for doing what he wanted. Because devotional service is not a mechanical thing. Christian consciousness is based on devotion. Devotion. So Prabhupada added devotion to service. And Prabhupada gave example also in the Prabhupada. The cashier may count millions of dollars for his employer, but he does not claim a cent for himself. Similarly, one has to realize that nothing in the world belongs to any individual person, but that everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. It's our Vaishnav principle. Christian teaching. Salvation principle. That is the real purport of Mai, or unto me. And when one acts in such Christian consciousness, certainly he does not claim proprietorship over anything. Yes, Nirmama, Nirmama. Nirmama. No claim. This consciousness is called Nirmama, or nothing is mine. And if there is any reluctance to execute such a staying order, which is without consideration of so-called kinsmen in the bodily relationship, that reluctance should be thrown off. In this way, one may become Vikata Dwara, or without feverish mentality or lethargy, laziness, indolence. Everyone, according to his quality and position, has a particular type of work to discharge, and all such duties may be discharged in Christian consciousness, as described above. That will lead one to the path of liberation. 31. Okay, this is part of the 31. 31. Ye me matamidam nityam anutistanti manava shadavantu asviyantu muchyanti tepi karamabi.
Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follow this teaching faithfully without envy become free from the bondage of stupid actions.
Yeah. So what is happening? Lord Krishna is teaching us the result of following Krishna. This is the result of following Krishna. You will you will see similar thing in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi 2:18. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 14:21. Srimad Bhagavatam 9:11-23. If you follow Krishna, the injunction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the essence of all Vedic wisdom, and therefore is eternally true without exception. As the Vedas are eternal, so this truth of Krishna consciousness is also eternal. One should have faith in this injunction without envying the Lord, but an ordinary man with faith in the eternal injunctions of the Lord, even though unable to execute such orders, becomes liberated from the bondage of the law of karma. Is a result of following the order of Krishna. Is the result. And then the two.
Maharaj, one thing. So Maharaj, here it is written that even if we have faith, although we are not able to follow, we will become liberated from the bondage of law of karma. So is getting free from bondage of law of karma and attaining to Vaikuntha or liberation same or different? Because if we are free from law of karma, this means that we are liberated and we are qualified to go to Vaikuntha.
Haribol.
Maharaj, is my voice audible?
Yes, I was hearing, but somebody else were talking behind. Yeah, I'm hearing you. Yes.
So Maharaj, as it's written that who has firm faith in the injunctions of Lord, although unable to follow such orders, becomes liberated from the bondage of law of karma. So is becoming free from bondage of karma same as getting liberation from this material world? Like
liberation has liberation has different levels. When you say liberation, it has different levels. Different levels, not the same. If one is sick and you get cured, so you're liberated from sickness. That's liberation from sickness. That will not take you back to Godhead. But it is liberation from sickness. If a poor man becomes very rich, so you're liberated from poverty. That will not take us back to Godhead. If one is liberated from the three modes of nature, we can merge into Brahman, but not necessarily going back to Godhead. The actual liberation means to go back to Godhead.
okay, Maharaj, thank you.
All right.
Maharaj, I have a question. Maharaj, like here it is mentioned that if one is unable to execute orders, even if he has firm faith, then also he will become liberated. But Maharaj, like we hear that Guru Mukha Padma Vaka Chitara Koriya that one should strictly follow the instructions of spiritual master. And there should be no excuse in that. So Maharaj, how to understand this? It appears to be a bit ironical.
But an ordinary man with firm faith in the eternal injunction of the Lord, ordinary man with firm faith in the eternal injunctions of the Lord, even though unable to execute such orders, becomes liberated from the bondage of the law of karma. He didn't say here he's going back to Godhead. He says he freed from the law of karma. They are transcending the modes of nature. I mentioned before, transcending the three modes of nature does not necessarily mean one is going back to Godhead. But the point here is that he has faith. And that is very, very important. There's a faith here. That faith, even though one is not doing the best, but he has a faith there that this process can take one back to Godhead. That which is the beginning, and that is very, very important. Working on this foundation will help one to eventually attain the Supreme. Eventually. So it's the beginning. Does it make sense?
Okay, Maharaj. Okay, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah. And in chapter 13, you're going to hear. Chapter 13. Krishna also explained how some people are very, very, very fortunate. They may not have the fortune of studying all the scriptures and following them. was simply by having faith in the instruction of the acharyas and hearing them, they will also attain perfection.
Maharaj, which reference? Please read the reference, verse number.
Chapter 13, this is Bhagavad Gita. You'll get there.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, you'll get there. It's in chapter 13, 1-3. Those who this by faith, they simply hear by faith. They will also get liberation. So faith is very important. So Prabhupada is emphasizing the importance of faith here. All right, 32. Jetwetat agashuyanto nanu distanti me matam saravagyan nibugdham stan vidhinastam achetasa.
Those who, out of envy, disregard these teachings and do not follow them regularly are to be considered bereft of all knowledge, befooled and ruined in their endeavors for perfection.
So this is the result of those who does not follow Krishna. What happens? Those who follow, they get liberated. But those who do not follow, what happened?
They are bereft from the divine knowledge.
Look at the screen.
Punished. They are
The
punished.
flaw of not making.
Yes, the law of nature will punish the disobedient. The disobedient. We punished. That is what is happening. We are getting punished. The flaw of not following Krishna consciousness is clearly stated herein, as there is punishment for disobedience to the order of the Supreme Executive Head. So there is certainly punishment for disobedience to the order of the Supreme Personality of God. That's it. That's it. If you follow, you'll be liberated. If you don't follow, you'll be punished. So there's no question of independence. Right? 33. Sadrisam chestate shvasya prakrite jnanavanapi prakritim janti bhutani nigraha kim karishati.
Even a
Even
man
a man
of
of
knowledge acts according to his own nature, for everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the three modes. What can repression accomplish?
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, can you please give any small example for the previous verse that how Krishna punishes,
How
or
Krishna?
how the Krishna punishes or a person get punishment? Any small example? Who doesn't follow Krishna?
all of our conditions in this world we are suffering. Why? We're disobedient. We're not following Krishna's law. Those who follow Krishna's law, they're devotees. They don't suffer. They're not punished. Even if they transgress the law, they will not be punished. Bhimsena drank blood, ate flesh. Was he punished? Did he go to hell? Bhimsena.
Oh my God.
He didn't go. Why? It's a devotee. Non-devotee will be punished for every single thing that we do. Every single thing we punish. We are suffering this. Everyone is suffering in this material because of our disobedience to the law. In chapter 16, 23, you will hear. Krishna said, Bhakti śāstrī vidim usvidya. Wait a second. kama karataha. Anyone, anyone who discard, anyone who gives up scriptural injunction and whimsically acts. Occasion say three things. Do not be happy. Now should come. Now Siddhim will never attain perfection. And no Paramgati. He will never attain the supreme destination. Punishment.
Yes, Maharaj, very, very big punishment. No Paramgati.
Big punishment. No happiness, which everybody is working very hard every day, and now we're struggling for happiness. You will never get it. Anyone who does not follow the scriptural injunction, anyone who doesn't follow Krishna, there is no satisfaction, no perfection, no going back home, back to Godhead. Punishment. And then the same 16. If you go back to this 23, if you go back to 2021, if you go to 2021, text 2021, see what is there. 20.
Attaining repeated birth.
Yeah,
Amongst
20. Yes. Go ahead, read it.
Attaining repeated birth amongst the species of demoniac life, O son of Kunti, such persons can never approach me. Gradually they sink down to the most abominable type of existence.
Is it not punishment?
Yes, Maharaj.
Not even born in a normal place. In a demonic species of life, this is terrible. That is terrible. It's horrible. Really horrible. I guess I said the repeated birth amongst the species of demons. Repeated. Punishment?
Thank you so much, Maharaj. So many punishments.
Yes. And why are we placed in such a situation like this? Envy. 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 Now 11:23 is about how to get out of envy, or the result of how to conquer envy. All right, 33. I go to 33. Sadrisam chestate swasya prakrite jnanavanapi prakritim janti bhutani nigraha kim karishati. I've read this one. Yeah, go ahead.
Even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature, for everyone follows the nature he has acquired from three modes. What can repression accomplish?
Yes, what can repression accomplish? What can repression accomplish? Is it not?
Gurumas, like in ISKCON, like we are told to follow certain rules. So in a way, it is also kind of repression if someone is in very deep ignorance, isn't it?
It becomes repression when we don't know what we're doing, or when we are not sincere. Then it becomes repression. For example, for example, I like to eat 2-3 plates of prasada, and I'm seeing all of you taking 1 or 2. And looking at all of you, I'm thinking, oh, what are they going to say about me when they see me with 3? So I'm not going to take my 3 plate that will be satisfied. I'm taking 1 or 2. That is repression.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Will I be happy?
No.
I will not be happy. All of you will be happy because you did what you can take. I didn't take what I can take because I'm feeling insecure. So I'll be miserable throughout because the hunger will be tormenting me. Depression. So Christians say, what would that accomplish? It's always suffering. We will just put ourselves through.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
It is better to be situated in one's own position. Take your 3 plates. That's all. Take your 3 plates. You know that this is what you can handle. Then you can function. You can churn around. You can do your service. Yesterday we talked about Bimsena, a person who is a voracious eater and a performer of excellent tasks. Do like that. Be sincere, open. That's just an example. You can give more example, but this is just an example to help us understand. No need to artificially function. So function nicely. Academically, one may be very learned, but because of his long association with material nature, he's in bondage. Krishna consciousness helps one to get out of the material entanglement, even though one may be engaged in his prescribed duties in terms of material existence. Therefore, without being fully in Krishna consciousness, one should not give up his occupational duties. No one should suddenly give up his prescribed duties and become a so-called yogi or transcendentalist artificially. Take your 3 plate and function nicely, chant Hare Krishna, dance kirtan or perform kirtan, perform service. Don't artificially take 1 plate because people around us are taking 1 plate, 2 plates. So it is better to be situated in one's position and to try to attain Krishna consciousness under superior training. Thus one may be freed from the clutches of Krishna's Maya. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So we should not give up our
Maharaj,
prescribed.
what is about then?
Huh?
Maharaj, how can we understand then tapasya?
Tapasya doesn't mean starvation. Tapasya is not starvation. Tapasya means we are voluntarily making a sacrifice for something higher. We are willingly doing that. Say, okay, it is now. Yeah, thank you for asking the question. So now I'm taking 3 plates, but now I want to take 2 as a sacrifice. So I can function better in my Krishna consciousness. That is tapasya, not depression. Depression is that my mind is still there. Should I take 3 or take 2? What people say about me? They will call me the glutton. Krishna also thinks the same way. Krishna also thinks the same way. Krishna, he asked me the other day, so now let me tell you this one. When Mother Yashoda sent a servant to go and call Srimati and her Saki is to come and cook delicious preparations for Lord Krishna. Srimati became extremely happy, became joyful, and they all came. They came to Anna Baba's house, offered respectful obeisance to Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda lifted her up and catching hold of her 2 hands. She took her to Rohini, who's in charge of kitchen. She offered obeisances to Rohini, the mother of Lord Krishna, Balaram. The director of kitchen took Srimati Rani and all her friends to the kitchen and showed her everything that they have to cook. And they prepared varieties of wonderful, tasty, nectarian prasadam. and everything was set in the dining hall. So Krishna and Balaram was called inside. He came, Nanda Maharaj was seated on a special chair. There's a special chair for Krishna and Balaram. Krishna is sitting by the right side, Balaram is sitting by the left hand side of their father, Nanda Baba. And all the mothers of the Gopas, they came and give blessing. May this prasadam become nectar. This is before they started eating. The blessing is there. May this food become nectar. And the Portuguese and the French people, they have a similar mentality. They have a similar mentality. When they see someone eating, they will wish you bon appetit. That is Portuguese. Please have a nice appetite to enjoy the food. French people have similar thing. Bon appetit. Bon appetit. Good appetite so you can enjoy the food. So they give blessings. Let this person become nectar. And Krishna and Balaram and all the friends, they started eating, but Krishna cannot stop eating. As soon as he started, he cannot stop eating because it was so delicious. Srimati Rani used her heart to cook. So Krishna cannot be satisfied. Well, Krishna is thinking, oh, they're going to call me a glutton, therefore I should take little. So Krishna was taking little. But if you do like that, if you do like that, the depression will suffer. Will suffer. So we should eat as this is just one example. Other examples are there. Okay, that's it. And if we want to reduce that as an austerity, that's a complete different thing. And that should be done. That becomes austerity. So austerity is different from starvation. All right.
Thank you so
Maharaj,
very much, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Maharaj, just one question on this verse again. It says that we should everyone follows their own nature and we should not repress. Is it how does one find his own nature? Because I mean, it's easier said than done. That, for example, we have Brahma, Kshatriya, Shudra, Vaishya as four predominant nature. How should one find? Because personally speaking, I've seen that it's not an easy task to know who you are. So if you can guide, how can a devotee work towards this path of finding his own nature?
Oh, if you want to know your nature, it's not difficult. It is not difficult to know one's nature. Want to know your nature? Do you want to know your nature? I say it's not difficult to know.
Yes.
Yes, Maharaj.
I also.
Yes, Maharaj.
I'll give you a simple formula. Just a simple formula. You can follow that. You know your nature. Just a simple formula. How many hours do you sleep?
6 hours generally.
Huh?
6 hours generally.
6 hours. Do you sleep in the day, in the afternoon?
In the evening. I mean, total.
You sleep in the afternoon?
No, not always.
Okay, you don't sleep in the afternoon. Very good. And you sleep 6 hours. Very good. So that is a goodness. What kind of food you eat? Spicy food? Simple food? What kind of food do you eat?
Spicy.
Spicy? Mix
Simple
Passion.
food, Maharaj.
Or simple food then is goodness. So you're Brahmana by nature. Looking at our tastes, look at the things we do every day. If you look at the things we do every day, you can know our nature. I gave a formula to one group. If it is very easy to do that if you have a community. So if you write down everything you like to do in your life, everything you like to do in life, you just write all down. I like to read, I like to hear, I like to chant, I like to do this. It's very easy to know exactly this is a person's nature, this person's nature, this person's nature. Not difficult. All right.
Maharaj, one thing, can we change our nature? Like
Yes,
so how can
we
we
can
change?
change. We are practicing bhakti, we are changing. So for example, someone is sleeping 10 hours. Now you start sleeping 6 hours. So we are changing. Yes. Now, even coronavirus is forcing everybody to change as well. People who doesn't wash hand before, now you're washing hand 3 times, 4 times a day. So we are changing. We are already changing. Something is pushing us to change, even materially or spiritually. As you make advancement in Krishna consciousness, be changing. There's certain things you start to tolerate, you cannot tolerate before. You easily get angered. But after practicing for some time, you notice that you're not getting so quickly angered anymore. So you're changing. Yes. There's certain things we couldn't tolerate before. Any little thing person said, I get disturbed, I'm going to react. But after some time, I don't do like that again. So you're changing. That's some advancement is taking place. We're changing. The changing is going on there. As we are making progress in Krishna consciousness, the changing. Not even our body is changing. Even the body changes. We don't see it graphically, but you see the body also change because the body is not going to respond to the same situation, the stimulus like before. So it's changing. The mind is changing in quality. Our senses also they're changing quality because you can't eat the amount of food we're eating before. It's changing. So this constant change is going on as we make progress in Krishna consciousness. It's a lot of changes going on. Our consciousness is changing, getting purified. The certain thing we liked before, but now we don't have taste for it. So changing.
Maharaj, this change that we're talking about, is it more like we are taking some Brahmanical qualities upon us, but our predominant nature as Brahman, Kshatriya, Shudra, Vaishya, would that remain the same throughout the life, or one can have that changed as well?
In the Kali Yuga, these things are not so prominent. These things are not so prominent. But in the other auspicious ages, yes, these qualities predominate. These qualities always predominate. Even if one becomes a pure devotee, we still see that nature is there. You still see that is there. You see, when Vishwamitra Muni changed, he changed. You know, my Kshatriya is a Brahman. He changed completely. And when they were fortunate, we mentioned the other day, Vishwamitra Muni, Vasistha Muni, Gautam Muni, they changed, became devotees, the pure devotees. Completely. No more Kshatriya, no more Brahmana, no more Vaishya Shudra. They changed completely, pure devotees. $34.
Maharaj, one question. Yes. Maharaj, like it's mentioned that better one is situated in one's own position. But like many times we hear that, especially like if someone is in ashram life, that you might be given many type of services, and that you should not be in one should not be in one's comfort zone. That I cannot do this kind of service, and that one should do whatever is asked to do. So I mean, how to understand them this thing that one should
In the beginning, we should do what a spiritual master will engage us according to our nature. So we should do that. In the beginning, we should do that. But as we continue to progress in our Christian consciousness, we should come to the level where the spiritual master will tell us to do what he will want us to do. And if we follow that, we make advancement. If you don't follow that, say, no, Gurudev is saying, today we have many book distributors. We have 10 book distributors. And we, in the kitchen department, we lack. So today, don't go Sankirtan, do cooking. Oh, Gurudev, I'm a Sankirtan, that's my nature. That becomes offense. You don't make advancement. It becomes an offense. It's a disobedience. It is lack of knowledge. We don't understand that functioning under the instruction of the spiritual master is the best course of activity. So we should change. That is change.
But many times it happens that we are not in direct contact with the spiritual master. The services come from the authority, and many
it doesn't
times
have to come directly from there. The authority representing the spiritual master. So if they ask you to do this because this is necessary, why would 20 people go Sankirtan and there's nobody to cook? Well, among those Sankirtan devotees, the devotees here can cook. Why? Why some devotee will not come and do the cooking? Because the spiritual master didn't tell me directly, whom are we working under? We are working for spiritual master. So it doesn't have to come directly from spiritual master. The temple president, the manager, they are representing who? They are representing the spiritual master. So it is also ignorant for us to say like that. No, you are not guru, so you cannot tell me that. Only one guru tells me. That is your fight. Your fight.
And Maharaj, sometimes there is some sort of a service in which it's a not 1 day or 2 days. It's it's a long time service, and one is not comfortable in that. I mean, as per the nature, it tried, but it's not working out. So in that case,
we should know that when I'm not comfortable in services because my senses does not accept it as something I want to do, we should know that means we are on a low level. And the higher principle means that whatever I'm asked to do, I will do it. Even if I don't know it, I will do it because an order. And when I do it with my mind, empowerment will come. I'll be able to succeed in doing that thing. Actually. Even if I don't do it perfectly, but because I accepted the order sincerely from my heart to do it, the result will be wonderful. In fact, it is at this point we will appreciate that authorities are just using us to do something for benefit. The result will be wonderful. And we depend on the empowerment. And that is how empowerment comes. Not only when we do things that we like, but when we do things we don't like nicely, we make more advancement. Indriya Shendriya Sharti Ragadvesho Vyavastito Tayona Vasam Agachet Tohyasya Paripantino Paripanti. Yes.
There are principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to the senses and their objects. One should not come under the control of such attachment and aversion because they are stumbling blocks on the path of realization.
Yes. a royal road, you still have a chance of an accident, even on the royal road. Sanctification under regulations may also lead one to go astray, as much as there is always a chance of an accident, even on the royal road. So there is no security in the material world. The only security is to function under the guidance of a bona fide authorities, bona fide representative of Krishna. That is only security. That's only guaranteed security that we have. There is no other security anywhere in this world. The sense enjoyment spirit has been current a very long time, owing to the material association. Therefore, in spite of regulated sense enjoyment, there is every chance of falling down. Therefore, any attachment for regulated sense enjoyment must also be avoided by all means. Otherwise, you can also have difficulties. So our security is to follow the order of the spiritual master and work under his direction. We will succeed. Anything outside that, we are sure to have difficulties. It is sure to have difficulties. 35. Shreyan swadharma viguna paradharma swa anustitat swadharme nidhanam shreya paradharmo vayavata baha.
It is far better to discharge one's prescribed duties, even though faultily, than another's duties perfectly.
Yes.
Destruction in the course of performing one's own duty is better than engaging in another's duties, or to follow another's path is dangerous.
Very good. Is it not true?
True, Maharaj.
Is it not true? Is it true or not?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj. True, Maharaj.
Yeah, if a doctor give you medicine, if both of us are sick and we have gone to the hospital and the doctor give us medicine, and I'm thinking, yeah, I can take some medicine, what will happen to me? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Maharaj. We can.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
If I take some medicine, what will happen to me?
You will get cured. Yes, of disease.
Huh?
I'll be fine.
You will get cured of disease.
Doctor, both of us are sick and we have gone to the doctor. The doctor have diagnosed, check everything and giving us some medicine. Now we get back to the temple and I'm taking your own medicine because I'm sick. You are sick, I'm sick. Because I'm sick, I'm taking your medicine. What will happen to me?
That will not work, Maharaj. Basically, I'm taking any medicine. When doctor is giving me the right medicine, I should take that.
No, I'm sick. I'm sick.
He's professional.
I'm sick and you're
But he's
sick.
professional.
So this medicine is medicine. Is it not?
No, Maharaj.
Okay,
No,
thank you.
Maharaj. He's professional.
There is particular medicine for particular disease. We can take medicine for any medicine for any disease.
Yes, yes. So, what is the meaning prescribe? What is the meaning prescribe? What is the meaning prescribe? Prescribe means what?
Means, Maharaj, that means the medicine that has been given depending on judging the condition of the patient or
Yes,
judging different parameters of the patient.
yes, it is just concerned me. It's about me, not you. Although it is medicine, and although we are all sick, but the symptoms of our disease or sickness is not the same. So a doctor has prescribed something particularly for me. So as you take my own medicine, and you should take your own medicine. Taking your own medicine or taking my own medicine is very, very dangerous. Even you can take it very nicely with a big smile, but you will get killed. So it's better to do a prescribed duties. We should do our duty. Arjuna should do his duty fighting for Krishna. The Brahmanas should do their duties, studying the scripture and teaching the scripture to others. Worship the deities and accept charity. That is our prescribed duty. We should do it. We should not because okay, that you see this Prabhu, this Mataji, the service he's doing is very nice, very enviable. Everybody coming to him. See, I wish I can do service that everybody will coming to me like this. It's very dangerous. Let us do the service that is given to us. So we can avoid insuperiority complex or superiority complex. Both of them are dangerous and just within the body. All right.
Maharaji wanted to say something. Maharaji,
Yes,
I never
Maharaj.
ever understood these words before. But thank you so much, Maharaji. You have cleared it so much. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Okay, we can take 10-minute break. It is 10 minutes. I see you back after 10 minutes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
All right. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Will you remember to come back? Everybody remember to come back 10 minutes, not 20.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Yes, Maharaj. Back. We are
Come
back.
back. Okay, let's continue.
Yes, Maharaj. We are back.
Text 35. Shreyan Swadharma Vigona Paradharma Swanushtitat Swadharam Gundidhanam Shreya Paradharma Vayava. That is 35. So it's 35. Yeah, not 36. That is 35. 36. What is this? Arjuna Uvacha Atakena Payuktoyam Papam Charati Purusha Anichanaki Parisneya Paladiva Yojita.
Arjuna said, O descendant of Vrishni, by what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force?
So we are in this section, beware of lust and anger. So this is a question from Arjuna. Go on. Can you move forward? Yes. Are sinful actions impaired by the super soul within? This Arjuna is concerned. So he's acting. And Lord Krishna will answer. As such, Arjuna's question to Krishna is very sanguine. Very sanguine. As to the perverted nature of the living entities. Although the living entity sometimes does not want to act in sin, he still forced to act. Sinful actions are not, however, impaired by the super soul within, but are due to another cause, as the Lord explains in the next verse. In the next verse, which is 37. So the answer Krishna gives to Arjuna is text 37. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kamaisa Krudhaisa Rajoguna Sambhuribhavan Mahasana Mahapapma Vidyenam Iha Vairina.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material modes of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world.
What is lust? Is a word we commonly use. But what is lust?
Maharaj, the thing which is whatever we do is not pleasing Krishna, that is lust.
Okay, thank you.
Whatever.
What is lust?
Maharaj,
yes.
I want to try, Maharaj. Maharaj,
go ahead.
Maharaj, whatever it is said in like Atyendya Pritivansha Tare Bole Kam, Krishnendya Pritivansha Dhare Prem Nam. So whatever we do for our own gratification, that is lust, and contrary to that, whatever we do for Krishna's gratification, that is love.
Good. Thank you. Very good. Something more? What is lust? We have gotten two answers. This is a common word for devotees. It's a common word, lust. Oh, I'm lost here. Krishna, please protect me from lost. Krishna, oh, Gurudev, help me. I'm very lost. Oh, the lost people. Oh, this is a very lost person. So we use this word very commonly. So, but what is lost? So what
We must
influence?
thinking
Maharaj,
other.
lust is the perverted form of love.
Very good.
We must thinking other women as our property, meant for our
All right.
enjoyment.
Okay. Good. You will marry or not?
Maharaj, not aligning
Yes.
You
oneself
marry?
with Lord's.
Yes, Maharaj, I don't want to take the responsibility of the marriage. That is it.
Oh, you don't want to take responsibility. That's a laziness. That is laziness. That is not Krishna consciousness.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, I understand.
A devotee is a responsible person. Renunciation, not avoidance of responsibility. All right, because I cannot maintain a family, I'm very poor, just not married. That is not renunciation. Okay, yes, Prabhu, go on. Thank you, Prabhu.
Maharaj, anything that is not in line with Krishna's instructions, that is taking away from Krishna's instructions, which is not Krishna consciousness, but only sense gratification. That is lust.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, all of you are correct. Something more?
Unfulfilled desires.
Okay, good. Unfulfilled desires. Good. Desire itself, outside Krishna, it is lost. even before it becomes unfulfilled, desire outside Krishna, it is lost. So lost means transformed love or contaminated love. That is lost, contaminated love. When love becomes selfish activity, that is lost. Prabhupada explained that in a purport very nicely. And loss is more subtle than wrath. A man of lusty intentions may go undetected. An angry person, however, is easily noticed. Lust inevitably turns to wrath because it cannot be satisfied. Lust burns like fire, and like fire, it is all devouring. If fuel is added to fire, rather than satisfying the fire, it makes the fire burn more fiercely. In Rajaniti, instruction for satiriyas or diplomacy, it is said that an enemy is controlled by the words, gift, a position, or finally, punishment. Loss, however, is Mahapapma, the mightiest enemy, and most of these ordinary methods will not defeat it. So the Baladev Vidabhushana comments, or he comments, Danda. Punishment is the only way to deal with lust. Lust arises from the mood of passion. We should meticulously avoid Rajoguna if we wish to be free of lusty desires. If you wish to be free, so try to rise above Rajoguna. So here, Prabhupada is speaking, elevate the mood of passion to the mood of goodness. This is the process to conquer lust. Then again, when lust is unsatisfied, it turns to wrath. Wrath is transformed into illusion, and illusion continues the material existence. Therefore, lust is the greatest enemy of the living entity, and it is lust only which induces the pure living entity to remain entangled in the material world. Wrath is the manifestation of the mode of ignorance. These moods exhibit themselves as rats and other corollaries. If therefore, the mood of passion, instead of being degraded into the mood of ignorance, is elevated to the mood of goodness by the prescribed method of living and acting, then one can be saved from the degradation of wrath by spiritual attachment. So if we want to transform our lust into love, we should begin from what I say. We should begin from how do I put this? Where I'm forgetting. Caring for everyone nicely. Did you hear that? We should begin from caring for everyone nicely. Everyone. Hare Krishna.
Yes, yes, Maharaj. Yes, Maharaj.
All right. We should start caring for everyone. We should not keep anyone negatively in the mind. If you want to transform lust into love, we should start caring for everyone. Caring for everyone. Caring for everyone it means that we should not keep anyone negatively in the mind. Our minds should be free with everyone. Free. Then it will continue to develop to the stage where we'll see every living entities as spirit souls, part and parcel of Krishna. And we'll be free. Yes. If therefore lust is transformed into love for the Supreme, or transformed into Krishna consciousness, or in other words, desiring everything for Krishna, then both lust and wrath can be spiritualized. Hanuman, the great servitor of Lord Ram, exhibited his wrath by burning the golden city of Ravana. But by doing so, he became the greatest devotee of the Lord. Yes, how do we do that? Desiring, in other words, desiring everything for Krishna. Yes, desire everything for Krishna. We cannot desire everything for Krishna. We cannot come to that level without being friendly with everyone. So be friendly with everyone. That's the beginning. We will go back to the spiritual world when we have perfected how to relate with Krishna. And we perfect how to relate with Krishna in the spiritual world, but how we relate with each other here in this material world. Hare Krishna. 38.
Maharaj.
Yes.
Maharaj, there are three categories of devotees: Kanish, Madhyam, and Uttama. What the quality you are telling is of the Uttam Adhikari, and the person who says something wrong or not appropriate, being practicing devotional service. So we don't, we try not to associate. We respect, but we maintain a distance. Something happened with me yesterday only with a devotee. So that Mataji is against ISKCON and she says something wrong. So for previous so long, I was trying to make her understand. But now I talked to my senior, she said not to talk. But what you are saying, that is that the same instant it happens yesterday only, so coming into my mind. So Maharaj, how to come to of course, if, it's like who are not so good. So we should, I don't know, will it good or not to say, but we should feel pity for them that they are not Krishna conscious. That's okay. So how to understand this thing?
Yes,
Come to
yes, yes, that is good. That we keep distance. That is good. Keeping distance doesn't mean that I hate you. No, it means that I love you. And because I don't want you to make offensive, because by seeing each other, I'm going to think bad about you, you're going to think bad about it. Some negative thing comes. To prevent that, I'm keeping distance. It is good for you, it's good for me. It's not hatred. It's different from if I'm keeping you in my mind. Or just look at. That's a different thing. Being friendly does not mean that we should just be whimsical. That's not what you mean by being friendly with people. Being friendly with people, we are positive. We have positive nature towards everybody. But we keep distance. That's a part of the positivity. That we don't keep garbage or dirty things in our heart. It's a abode of Krishna. It should be kept clean. So we don't have any negativity there. So when somebody do something wrong, yes, we should keep distance from the person. But it's different from keeping the person in mind. Oh, this person, what do you say to me that day? What you did to me? Don't what they want to show you. That's a different thing. That is negative. Yes.
But Maharaj, that girl is anti-ISKCON. So if anybody blasphemes Lord or his devotee, that we should not tolerate. So for last many, for so long, I was trying to make her understand. Though I was trying to make distance since beginning also, but she was somehow wanted to come to me and associate. She wanted to associate with me. But yesterday I said, please spare me. It's been 8 times you have told negativity about the devotees, and now you have come to senior devotees. So Maharaj, how, but how can I tolerate?
No, she should not come to you. If her coming to you is to say something negative, so you tell her, please don't come to me because I'm not ready to hear what you say. It's better to offend her once than to keep offending again and again and again. Understand? Just say, I'm sorry, I will not be able to associate with you. I'm sorry, I'll not be able to associate with you. So please don't come because I will not be able to receive you nicely. So don't come.
So Maharaj, the message you gave regarding this, that heart is a place that is the abode of Krishna, that we should make our heart so clean so Krishna can come and be seated. Like as I was, so Maharaj, by doing this, so now there is one soul with whom I'm not happy. So is it okay? Will I be go to higher state?
Don't keep her in her mind. Don't keep her in her mind. She should not be there. She should not be there. Yes, see, let her go on her own. This shouldn't be in their mind there. That place is reserved for Krishna. See, you plan how to serve your Krishna very nicely. You think how to bring people to Krishna. Who is favorable is Sukhan. Who is not favorable? Haribol. We'll see you later. That's not you forget it. You forget. You don't keep dirty things with us. Because that is bad association. Bad association is not only physical. Bad association is also mental. I can be far from somebody physically, but very, very close to a person mentally. So if you keep thinking about negative thing, we are very close with that thing, and that is what we are, or eventually become. All right, 38. Dumena briyate vani jata darsho malena cha. Jatol bena brito garabas tata tenedam abritam.
As fire is covered by smoke, as a mirror is covered by dust, or as the embryo is covered by the womb, the living entity is similarly covered by different degrees of this lust.
Yes. So 3 degrees of lust is there. Lust compared to smoke. When lust is compared to smoke, it is understood that the fire of the living spark can be a little perceived. In other words, when a living entity exhibits his Krishna consciousness slightly, he may be likened to the fire covered by smoke. Although fire is necessary, where there is smoke, there is no overt manifestation of fire in the early stage. This stage is like the beginning of Krishna consciousness. This is in the purport. Yes, smoke, fire, human, dust mirror, animal, womb embryo, plants. There are different degrees of covering of lust. All right. And Papa gives a detailed explanation also in the purport. "39.
Maharaj,
Yes.
Maharaj is giving very important words. Please, please
Yes.
explain something more. Please.
You can read the purport more. In the purport is give a detailed explanation here. Although fire is necessary where there is smoke, there is no overt manifestation of fire in the early stage. This stage is the beginning of Krishna consciousness. The dust on the mirror refers to a cleansing process of the mirror of the mind by so many spiritual methods. The dust on the mirror refers to a cleansing process of consciousness. The process of the mirror of the mind by so many spiritual methods. The best process is to chant the holy names of the Lord. The embryo covered by the womb is an analogy illustrating a helpless position. For the child in the womb is also helpless, that he cannot even move. This stage of living condition can be compared to that of the trees. The trees are also living entities, but they have been put in such a condition of life by such a great exhibition of lust that they are almost void of all consciousness. The covered mirror is compared to the birds and beasts, and the smoke-covered fire is compared to the human being. In the form of human being, the living entity may revive a little Krishna consciousness, and if he makes further development, the fire of spiritual life can be kindled in the human form of life. So in the human form of life, we can overcome lust. Other species will have difficulty. So the condition is more dense. So the human, we have the facilities to conquer this, and that is why Krishna is speaking, is addressing this. We can develop our pure love for God in the human form of life. That is why it is very, very dangerous, and since Upanishad condemns the living entities who have been bad fortune by having a human body and are not taken seriously to Krishna consciousness, by which one will end our material existence altogether. It is the life of sanctification is condemned in all scriptures. We have the chance to transcend this. All right.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you.
Abritam jnanam etena jnani nondita vaidana kam rupena kaunteya duspurena nanalena cha.
Thus, the wise living entity's pure consciousness becomes covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like fire.
Yes. Yes. When one fears one's enemy, one discovers where he is situated. Therefore, Krishna is showing us where the enemies are situated so that we can find a way to deal with it. In the screen, Prabhupada has given this explanation, the ultimate enemy. Loss is the ultimate enemy. What is that? But one enjoys sense gratification. It may be that there is some feelings of happiness, but actually that so-called feeling of happiness is the ultimate enemy of the sense enjoyer. This is a very, very important point Prabhupada made here. Why people continue to gratify the senses because everyone thinks that yeah, this enjoyment. But actually, what do we consider to be enjoyment? What we are calling enjoyment, it is our greatest enemy because that is what is keeping us on and on and on in material suffering. Therefore, Krishna is pointing out this truth very clearly. In 40, Krishna is going to point out where the enemies are situated. Where are they situated? Okay, go to 40.
Maharaj, I have a question.
Mm.
Maharaj, just earlier we were discussing about we should not repress our nature, and you took the example of a person wanting to eat more than one plate of prasadam. And there we applied this logic that if by repressing there'll be more damage. And in this section we are studying that by doing more sense gratification, the lust part is still never satiated. It's never satisfied. It's like adding fuel to the fire. So when as a devotee, if I'm having some desire for sense gratification, on one side the logic comes that okay, over a period of time I'll be able to win over it as long as I'm continuing with my process of bhakti. But looking at this section, it seems like fanning any of these desires would lead to more damage. So how do we reconcile the two aspects?
Good question. Very good question. By thinking that I will overcome this by doing it, it's a big mistake. It's a big mistake. The perfect example in the fourth canto of Bhagavatam, Maharaj Yayati. Yayati, he thought he would do that, but he tried, he didn't succeed. So while the scripture in one way is recommending that if you want to control, you should do this, the same scripture is recommending that is not the way to do it. Like the example of Yayati, he couldn't do it, he couldn't complete it until he has to by fortune come to realization. It is not working. Let me just give back the youth to my son. And tolerate it. That is the way. So, yes, we should also take some form of discipline. And the yoga system was restraining the senses. Restrain means that we have to reduce the demands of the senses. In case I'm going to say that in text 43. We should use the higher self to control the lower self by deliberate spiritual Krishna consciousness. Deliberate Krishna consciousness. This is the responsibility for all of us. That we should be deliberate. We should understand the higher self. The activities, what I'm doing, it is just a function of the body. So where is the spiritual function? Here. When one sincerely pray and beg for mercy, then we'll have the strength to transcend. We should pray, we should beg, we should pray. Our charities have offered many prayers in our scripture. There are so many prayers, many, begging for the Lord's mercy to help us to get the strength to transcend all our weaknesses. Daily prayer is recommended, necessary. Daily. All right.
Yes, thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Maharaj, could you say some of the name of the prayers so that I can see that?
Yes. Yes, I will give you. You know, some of them you get my daughter.
I just need the names, Maharaj. I can find in the internet.
Okay, I'll just give you a very quick one. Dhirodans, you offer prayer to Lord Balaram.
Yes, Guru.
Yes, you find one good one there. Please give obeisances to Lord Balaram, and another one is for transcending. You're transcending to conquer anger, to conquer loss, to conquer illusion, to conquer madness. That is one. There's another prayer for Sanat Kumara is in the 6th canto. That is there. There's another one from Bhagavad. I wrote them in my jota. I can give you some tomorrow. So take these two, and tomorrow we get more.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the prayers, Balaram Astakam, composed by Dhirodhan. It is there. Okay. So you get from Pragati is going to show. Pragati Mataji is going to show. Going to give you some more.
Maharaj?
Yes.
Maharaj, I have linked for more than around 20 prayers from Bhagavatam, from like sessions. I have so many links in one copy. So I'll post that in our group.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, that's very good. Thank you. So Pragati, put your on and Rukmini had 7 years. He's going to post that on. So you have many. So you can chant it every day. The proper recommended in this in the 8th canto, Gajendra Moksha section is the proper recommended there. We should learn how to chant mantras. Proper recommended that. So we should chant mantras. You can chant so many slokas from Bhagavad Gita. 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is full of prayers. So we can select some and be chanting as well. They are very wonderful. Okay, 40. Indayani mano bhudiri ashadisthana muchate itre vimohayesa yana mabritya dehinam.
The senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting place of this lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him.
Very good. Papa says here in the purport, the enemy has captured different strategic positions in the body of the conditioned soul. And therefore, Lord Krishna is giving hints of those places so that one who wants to conquer the enemy may know where he can be found. Mind is the center of all activities of the senses. And those, we hear about sense object, the mind generally becomes a reservoir of all ideas of sense gratification. And as a result, the mind and the senses become the repositories of lust. Next, the intelligence department becomes the capital of such lustful propensities. Intelligence is the immediate next door neighbor for the spirit soul. Lusty intelligence influences the spirit soul to acquire the false ego and identify itself with matter, and those with the mind and the senses. The spirit soul becomes addicted to enjoying the material senses and mistakes this as true happiness. It is not happiness, but it's wrong. Okay, 41. Tasmat tvam indriyanyado niyamya bharatara sabha papanam prajahiyenam jnana vijnana nasanam.
Therefore, O Arjuna, best of the Bharatas, in the very beginning curb this great symbol of sin, lust, by regulating the senses, and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization.
Yes. Lust is the destroyer of knowledge and self-realization, turning lust into love of God. And it was the end of the purport. Lust is only the perverted reflection of the love of God, which is natural for every living entity. So we should not be surprised how lust is so powerful. The lust is very, very powerful because it's the opposite of pure love, which is so powerful that it controls Krishna. So we should not be surprised that lust is so powerful. But here Krishna is giving us the hint how to get out of it. But if one is educated in Krishna consciousness from the very beginning, that natural love of God cannot deteriorate into lust. When love of God deteriorates into lust, it is very difficult to return to the normal condition. Nonetheless, Krishna consciousness is so powerful that even a lay beginner can become a lover of God by following the regulative principles of devotional service. So, from any stage of life or from the time of understanding its urgency, one can begin regulating the senses in Krishna consciousness, devotional service of the Lord, and turn the lust into love of Godhead, the greatest perfectional stage of human life, transforming lust into love.
Maharaj,
Yes.
Maharaj, only one line from the previous slide. When love of God deteriorates into lust, it is very difficult to return to the normal condition. How to,
Yes.
Maharaj, please.
Yes, that is what is happening. Is it easy to conquer lust? Is it easy?
No.
No, see, it's very difficult. That's what Prabhupada is saying. It's very difficult for us to conquer, to transform it. So the process of transforming lust into love is what we are following in Krishna consciousness. The whole thing, everything here is to help regulate us so we can go better. We know it's difficult. It's difficult to do that. But still, yes.
Maharaj, means when we were in Goloka, so we were uplifted we were having much love of God, love of Krishna. But now we have come like, is this line mean like this?
Yes.
Okay.
Read the text 27 purport. In the beginning, text 37, see what Prabhupada said. when a living entity comes in contact with the material creation, his eternal love for Krishna is transformed into lust in association with the mood of passion. You see? Originally,
Yes, Maharaj.
or in
Yes.
other words, the sense of love of God becomes transformed into lust as milk in contact with salt tamarind is transformed into yogurt. This is the process. This is how we got transformed into lust. Now we are trying to return back, transforming the lust into love. So it's difficult. Therefore, properly saying, it is difficult. But the process is here and it's very powerful. If you follow the process, certainly we are going to get there. Surely we get there. All right. 42. Indriyani paranyahu, indriye bhya param mana, manasastu para buddhir, yobudhe paratastu sa.
The working senses are superior to dull matter. Mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is still higher than the mind. And the soul, is even higher than the intelligence.
Yes. With intelligence, one has to seek out the constitutional position of the soul and then engage the mind always in Krishna consciousness. That solves the whole problem. A neophyte spiritualist is generally advised to keep aloof from the object of the senses. But aside from that, one has to strengthen the mind by use of intelligence. If by intelligence, one engages one's mind in Krishna consciousness, by complete surrender unto the Supreme, cool. All right, yes. If by intelligence one engages one's mind in Krishna consciousness, by complete surrender unto the Supreme Presence of Godhead, then automatically the mind becomes stronger, and even though the senses are very strong, like serpent, they will be no more effective than serpent with broken fangs. But even though the soul is a master of intelligence and mind, the senses also still but even though the soul is the master of intelligence and mind, and the senses also, still, unless it is strengthened by association with Krishna and Krishna consciousness, there is every chance of falling down due to the agitated mind. So we take shelter of Krishna through Krishna consciousness, through good association, and constantly here. If we don't want to be disturbed by laws, we should not have free time. We should always be engaged. We should always be engaged. There should not be free time. We shouldn't have free time. Always engage in Krishna. That is the solution. And this is the last verse. Evam Buddha Param Buddha Samstabhyatmanam Atmanam Jahi Satrun Mahabahu Kamarupam Durasadam.
Thus, knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind and intelligence. O mighty armed Arjuna, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence, Krishna
Mm.
consciousness, and thus, by spiritual strength, conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust.
Yes, we should use the strength of our trained intelligence, which should be fixed in transcendental knowledge, to protect us from falling victim to inappropriate actions impelled by passion, the Rajagun. We should use the strength of our trained intelligence, which should be fixed in transcendental knowledge, to protect us from falling victim to inappropriate actions impelled by passion, Rajaguna. In this chapter, Krishna has glorified transcendental knowledge that which elevate us from Sakama Karma Yoga to Niskam Karma Yoga, from the platform on which we perform our duty with attachment to the platform of detached action. So, so Prabhupada explains in the purport. Desire for overloading and for sense gratification is the greatest enemy of the conditioned soul. But by the strength of Krishna consciousness, one can control the material senses, the mind and intelligence. One may not give up work and prescribe duties all of a sudden, but gradually developing Krishna consciousness, one can be situated in a transcendental position without being influenced by the material senses and the mind. By steady intelligence directed towards one's pure identity. This is the sum total of this chapter. In a mature stage of material existence, philosophical speculations and artificial attempt to control the senses by the so-called practice or yogic postures can never help a man towards spiritual life. He must be trained in Krishna consciousness by higher intelligence. Okay, so now we have our yoga ladder on the screen. Yoga ladder begins from animal platform. So when you raise to karma kanda, which is at the beginning of human life. Karma kanda is the beginning of human life. That we are elevating our material propensities by engaging in karma yoga. Karma yoga is activities which are performed with some understanding or some detachment, some level of detachment is there. That detachment we perform in our prescribed duties will take us to Gyan Yoga. From Gyan Yoga, we'll go to Asanga Yoga. From Asanga Yoga, there are two ways. One can become Brahma realized, or one can become Paramatma realized. And from there, if one becomes very, very fortunate from Paramatma realization, if one becomes very fortunate, a good association, one will go to Bhakti Yoga. And from Bhakti Yoga, we have Bhagavan realization. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Can you throw some light on Ashtanga Yoga, Maharaj?
Yes, Ashtanga Yoga is very difficult for it's very, very steep, Ashtanga Yoga. Yes. Very difficult for, especially for in Kali Yoga. It's very difficult, Ashtanga. What it was practiced by great personality like what is that? A powerful, powerful meaning. Why am I forgetting his name? That sage who taught Ramachandra how to use the weapon to kill Ravana. Forget? What's his name?
Vishwamitra.
No. He gave the weapon of Vishnu to Ramachandra in the forest. That weapon he used in killing Ravana.
Vashisht.
No. I just forget. It's one of my sweet monies. I'm forgetting it. Very powerful sage. You forget?
Yes, Maharaj.
Maharaj, Agastya.
Yes, I got Samuni. Thank you. I got Samuni. Yes. That's what you practice. You have to put your head down and tie your leg on the tree. That is Asanga yoga. Of course, Prophet explained that also in Bhagavad Gita here. Very, very rigorous process. It's not easy. You want to do that?
Not at all, Maharaj. We just want to remain in Bhakti Yoga.
Better.
Maharaj, can you please make us understand this chart? It's not getting clear actually, absolutely. From animal life, of course, we are at a Karma Kanda, human life, then Karma Yoga, then Jnana Yoga. Means from each and every step we have to go through first of all, and then we reach Bhakti Yoga.
This is a process. It is going on in our life. You don't see it because we are devotee. So you don't see that you are going through this process. Like Chaitanya Charitamrita described a tree of bhakti, the bhakti kripa, which is planted. You don't see it graphically, but it is going on. So this yoga ladder is also going on. As you are practicing, it is going on. Like we have left animal platform, now you have come to human platform. Many of us even are still lacking human qualities to do activities which are very, very conducive for Krishna, or to be able to align ourselves perfectly in bhakti. It is going on. We don't see it, but it is going on.
Okay, Maharaj, everything is clear, but I'm not still clear about Ashtanga Yoga. Have we ever practiced Ashtanga Yoga in our life before coming to Bhakti Yoga? I'm not clear about this point.
It is not that everybody will practice this. Not everybody will practice it. It is not all everybody are going to go through this. One can jump, which we are already doing. Taken to
Okay, Maharaj,
Bhakti,
now it's clear. Now it's clear.
Taken to Bhakti, we have jumped so many.
Yes, yes.
So yeah,
Now your word jump is through your word jump. It's clear.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Maharaj. Yes, Maharaj.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Maharaj, are we going to take this chart tomorrow as well? Otherwise, I have a question.
What's the question?
Maharaj, the question is, Srila Prabhupada uses some of these words interchangeably. So, if today or tomorrow, if you can throw some light on that, for example, Karam Yoga, he uses as interchangeably for Bhakti Yoga. And sometimes even Gyan Yoga, he uses it interchangeably for Bhakti Yoga.
Yeah.
Yes, Maharaj, if it is possible for you, please tomorrow also take up this chart once again.
Okay. See you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Maharaj. Thank you. Dhavat Pranam, Maharaj. Thank you so much.